Welcome to another episode of Vital Outdoors TV. I'm Trevor, and today I'm going to be doing a little demonstration or comparison on some different bass jigs. Now, I was at Walmart the other day and I saw a $2 jig kit, so I was wondering what's the difference between something that's $2 and something that's more expensive. So I think this is something that a lot of guys wonder, so I wanted to go over it and see what really is the difference. So the first jig I'm going to do, this is the more expensive one. This is roughly $5 per jig. It's the Berkeley gripper jig. Now this is my all-time favorite jig, you may know. It's made by Berkeley. Again, it's the gripper jig. This is Mike Iaconelli designed, and it features a nice flat head there. This is a 1/4 ounce. Nice eyes and internal line tie there to protect your knots. It has this extra skirt up top, so it's hand tied on there, and if you want you can take this whole yellow and purple skirt off there and you can just use it as a little finesse bait, and that works great too. When they aren't too active or the water's cold, that's a great thing to do. Features a nice weed guard there, perfect strong weed guard. Good strong long hook there, so that's really nice. And another cool thing that this jig has that a lot of jigs don't, if you can see there, that little loop. You can see that. There's a little loop right here that it allows you to put a rattle in there, which is something cool because it's just built into, it's what holds on your skirt, and it has the built-in rattle attachment there. So that's really nice. If you want to add a rattle, you can quick take it off if you want to. And it's built right into your bait. Then I used the net bait pocket chunk seniors on here. Show you what that looks like. It's a nice skinny but big trailer. Has these big claws on it, and when you reel it fast enough or when it sinks, they kick back and forth. In the video I'm going to show you the tank demonstration. They don't really swim too much, but that's because I'm reeling so slow with it. But when you reel really fast, they actually kick back and forth, which is really nice, and they also float pretty good. So that's the net bait pocket chunk senior, and that's in a blue color. And I used that on the purple and yellow Berkeley gripper jig. So that's a little about the more expensive jig I'm going to be using. And then the $2 jig here, it's this little kit by Heart Fishing, and it's called the Justice jig. This is pretty cool. Comes in a little kit for $2. You can have it comes with your trailer, a couple rattles, and then your jig. So this is a 1/2 ounce size, and this is in like a green pumpkin kind of color. And the jig here, you can see it has that flat head on there, so it stands up pretty good. Has a kind of tough weed guard, but it's still a pretty nice one. It's still gonna get you bites. You can just trim it up and it's gonna be perfect. Then has a nice thin silicone skirt there. You know, just one color, but a lot of times that's all you need. It has a mustad ultra point hook on there, so that's really nice too. So that's the jig. The trailer that comes with it is just this little chunk. It's also made by Heart. And you can see it's this beefy chunk there. The claws actually float really nice, which I was impressed with. They don't have any swimming action at all, but the floating kind of makes up for that, and the beefy size of that works good. Now it comes with this one rattle. You can see there, has that hole right through it, and there's actually this hole in the back of the jig, or the trailer, you can see there, where you actually just stick the rattle in the bait, and you stick your hook through the hole, and then your bait's just sitting right back like that, kind of. So it's a cool idea, but I didn't think it didn't look as natural that way when you put it on the hook. So I actually just slid the whole chunk down the hook like I would a normal trailer, and put it down farther so it looked more natural and had the body beefy and not as much the head. It didn't have such a big head as it did a body. So I think that's one thing that was more important, is not to use this little rattle it comes with. It's a good idea, but I don't think that the outcome of it is really good. So that's the trailer. And then the other rattle it comes with is just your simple one you put on your hook. And I liked that, but there was a problem when you put that on. When you put it on your hook, it wouldn't stand up. It'd always fall over, left, right, down. So I think the rattles that come with it aren't really that good for the lure, because it just ruins the action of the lure itself. But with just the chunk and the jig, I was really impressed. So here's the footage from the GoPro footage of me using the baits in the tank, so you can see the little differences they have, and then I'll go over what the differences really were. So you can see when the Berkeley gripper jig went down, it had a nice flare of the skirt, and the skirt slowly went down, which was nice. And the chunk, the trailer on there, the pocket chunk, it kind of floated, but it's not the greatest. They aren't meant to float, so it's good, and it catches a lot of fish actually, so that's good. But when it swims, you actually get the paddle tails, or the claws, moving, which is good, but you couldn't really tell that in the video. I had to move really slow, but when you move it fast, they actually kick really good, so that's the advantages of this jig. And it didn't stand up as good. You know, it kind of stood up, but then it rolled down. But the $2 jig then, that stood up really nice when you had the rattles off of it. And the chunk claws actually stood up really nice and floated. But the problem was, like I said, they had no action in when they swam. So that was a downfall of it. And this had a nice flare to it too. The skirt might not have been as good as the gripper jig, but I was still really impressed with this bait. So that's your $2 Heart Justice jig. And I was actually really impressed with it, like I said. So if you're just getting into fishing or whatever, this would be a good jig to get. You know, might not catch as many fish as the gripper jig, but it was still probably worth $2. And later on I'll try to get it in the water, in the actual lake, to test it out and see how it fishes. And I think I'm going to do some more of these videos on the bait comparisons between the cheap and the expensive. So if you have any ideas on what baits you want me to compare, mark them below. I'm also going to probably do a reel one next between bait casters, the cheap ones and the expensive. So I hope that video helped you, and I know it's something a lot of guys wonder, so I wanted to try to answer that question. And like I said, let me know other baits you want to see featured on these, and subscribe so you can see the rest of them, and hit like if you like this video. So thanks for watching.